how would the idea of a city income tax impact citizens? Could you give us what will be the difference? You know, will I pay more? If I were a renter, would I pay more? If I were lower income? You know?
When this was raised back in 2004, because tax preparation is one of the things that I do, I went through and got some what I thought was a range of examples from my client base and just crunched the numbers and said who's going to be better or worse off. In most cases, people, the only group that was consistently better off was if you owned your home, you were retired, and your primary income was from pensions and IRAs. Then, because you don't pay any income tax under state law, you don't pay it under a city income tax. Pretty much everybody else was either going to pay more with an income tax, or it wasn't going to make a lot of difference, and you know, you get extra paperwork. Clearly, I mean, half of the population roughly in Ann Arbor are renters. They're going to get hurt. So this income tax will, from the get-go, hurt at least half of the people in Ann Arbor, because the rent's going to be what the market will bear. The landlord is not going to pass, for individuals, not going to you know, pass the tax savings through.
Well, it's been presented kind of that several councilmen have weighed in on the issue, and Councilman Rapundelow presents this as an equity option, that non-residents will pay a tax, causing a shifting of the burden from residents. What do you comment on that? Are we really shifting the burden from residents, or are residents still going to pay more?
Well, you know, if you look at the Plant and Moran study, and
yes.
the Plant and Moran study goes through a number of scenarios, particularly with relationship to the personal exemption. So yeah, there's a scenario, it's a $600 personal exemption, all the way up to $3,500 personal exemption. If you look at the $600 personal exemption, the residents of the city will trade $21 million of property tax for $27 million in income tax. So as a total, residents of Ann Arbor are going to pay approximately 30% more taxes. Now, as Karen mentioned, I think if you own property and you work, it's probably close to a wash. Some people will pay a little more, some people pay a little less. But if you live in the city and rent, well, then you're going to get a huge tax increase. So, but still, in total, residents will pay a lot more under the $600 scenario. Of course, non-residents will pay, they pay nothing, so of course they'll pay a lot more. Only businesses come out ahead. They will see their taxes drop from $6 million to about $3 million. If you go to the $3,500 personal exemption, then it becomes more of a wash, because if you look, I believe it goes from about 21 to 22. There's a slight increase on residents with the $3,500 exemption, but it's close to wash. I keep hearing the $600 exemption, but of course until something's put on the ballot, we won't know what's really being proposed. But that would be the only way for residents to even come out even-steven
with the
$3,500
right.
personal exemption.
Right. I have another. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
If I could add
yes.
a couple points on
Certainly.
the income tax study.
Certainly.
One is that in fact, at one of the debates, former councilman raised this issue. The assumptions were provided by the city, and it appears that the number of non-residents yes. commuting into the city is exaggerated.
Yes.
So that's going to tend to make it look like non-residents are going to pick up a bigger burden than it's probably really the fact. The second point is that this latest study was done in a down economy when income is lower. So there's going to be less tax. When they did the study in '04 and were projecting what it would raise by '09, they were projecting more from income tax than this study is projecting we're going to make in 2011. So you got this low number, well, the economy recovers, and all of a sudden the residents are going to be seeing the bigger tax increase, because property taxes tend to be more stable. So I think that this is going to be, if this passes, it will be a bigger increase than we're thinking, because we're seeing it at a low point now.
Right.
I also have a concern that this is just one of many tax increases that could be thrown at us. It's a relatively small part of the property tax stream is the operating tax,
Yes.
about 6.18 mils.
Yes.
You could certainly see future increases in the other streams. As an example, when the parks millage, the special tax for the parks expired, we weren't offered just a renewal of that. We were offered a 10% increase. The choice given to us at that few years ago was either give us 10% more, or we will cut all of the parks budgets and you won't get any park services. And I see that that's I'm concerned about that in the future, that soon the 6% or the 6 mills we have today will be replaced by 6 mills in other property taxes.
So do you think there's that possibility that if this goes on the ballot and we reject it, that there will be some draconian measures taken that, in fact, we won't stop building, but we'll just keep cutting? What do you see, and what are your concerns in the offing, you know?
Well, I am concerned, but I actually, in preparing for our show today, found a press release issued by Tom Crawford dated February 3rd, 2005, talking about the anticipated budget shortfall. My question is, if we anticipated this 5.5 years ago, why haven't we done something about it before now? We seem to every year hear about the anticipated or the terrible budget or the draconian problems we're having, and then we find some fix for it. So, and again, that we have a huge surplus in certain pools of money that from every once in a while the problem seems magically solved because someone goes to the basement and gets a few $1 million out of the vault, I guess. Obviously, because of the property tax and the the drop in property values is going to cause some pressure. I don't see how the city can get around it. And unfortunately, a number of the projects have already been built. We've already committed. We've dug a hole in the ground for the municipal center. We're going to have to spend the money. It's too late to give the 50 or the 28 million back. We've already paid for the architect. So
is it too late for the parking?
It's not too late for the parking. No.
It is not too late for the parking.
But so there are areas, and I think if the citizens speak loud enough, maybe the message will get across. Back to the process, it concerns me that the unelected officials are really driving this budget decision. To me, the budget should really be the responsibility of our elected officials, the people that we've elected as our mayor and as our city council. I sort of see this right now as paid unelected people basically doing their pet projects and then getting rubber stamped by city council.
I wish we could have another half hour, but we've run out of time. I thank you so much. I thank you, Karen Sidney and Ed Amonsen, for sharing your perspectives and enlightening us. I want to take a moment to give special recognition to Linda Pedrick, co-originator of this program. And to you, our audience, thanks for watching. Please write to us with your comments, your suggestions, your ideas. We're always glad to hear other perspectives. Thank you.